My name is Farouza Afiwaki. I am Amal's sister, and this is also Amal's sister, Fatima Ahmedin. And then we've got Hawa, she's Amal's sister, Winter, Amal's sister. And then we have Mohammed-Nour's family as well. We have Mohammed-Nour's brother, who's Ibrahim Tuccu, and this is Ibrahim.
Speak into the mic for us, please.
Sorry, Ibrahim, who is Amna's husband, and we've got Bilen and Fanai and Adiam, who are all Amal's friends, and Amna, who is Amal's cousin.
And sir, in case I've not said so, these are the commemorations to Ibrahim Tuccu, Farouza Afiwaki,
Hi, my name is Winter. As my sister mentioned, I'm Amal's sister. I've written something to kind of give you a really tiny glimpse of the kind of people they were. So Amal was the most caring and loving person you could ever meet. Her capacity to love was unmatchable. She didn't care who you were, where you were from, your religion, or whatever walk of life you came from. She would give you the shirt off her back to help you. She loved to have a good time and laugh and surround herself with positive, amazing people. She never judged anybody or placed ridiculous expectations on you. We grew up sharing a room together, and whenever I had nightmares as a kid, she would hold me so tight and squeeze out the nightmares. Growing up, she taught me how precious life was and the importance of the kind of people you surround yourself with. She is supposed to be here, alive. She promised me that she'll be here for all the moments in mine and her lives to come. She loved her friends and family so much, especially her daughter, who was the love of her life. Amal was an incredible mother. Motherhood brought out a layer of her personality that we were all in awe of. When we found out that Amal was pregnant with Amaya, the amount of joy that filled the whole family was unexplainable. We had all burst into tears, realizing the incredible, priceless gift we were about to receive. She was the first baby of the family. From that moment, I had claimed that she was going to be my child. I saw her take her first breath, and I named her Amaya. She was so beautiful. I had planned her whole life in that moment. Amaya was an angel and the sweetest little girl. She loved her parents, Amal and Mohammed-Nour. They were such loving parents to her. Mohammed-Nour was such an amazing person. He would treat me like I was his little sister. He would buy us gifts every time he'd come round and talk to us as if we were his friends. Amaya's laugh was infectious. Her whole body would shake and she would jump up and down. She would run around and want to play with anybody, young or old. She was so smart and a bit cheeky, and we all realized pretty early on that she was definitely her mother's daughter. We celebrated her 3rd birthday February last year, and you can see her personality forming more and more, and we would get so excited by what an amazing human being she was going to grow up to be. Whenever I would take her to sleep, she would lay so close and rub and scratch your neck as that was the only thing that soothed her to sleep. I would hold her tight, just like Amal did to me as a kid. And that's how they were when they were being burnt alive, holding each other so tight, trying to squeeze the nightmare away.
Take your time, there's no rush.
Till this day and for the rest of my life, I will never accept that they are gone. And that I will never see them again, and I will never be able to feel their warmth, their kind and loving hearts. I will continue planning Amaya's life. What she would be doing today, tomorrow, her 10th birthday, her 18th, her 21st, and the rest of her life. We all miss them so much. Thank you.
Nearly a year has passed since my family heard the news that my sister's family were unreachable and missing since the fire broke out in Grenfell Towers, where they lived. Those we grew up with, who shared our fondest memories with, celebrated and mourned, have had their lives stolen from them while the whole of London watched. It has been completely surreal and the most painful and devastating time of our lives. We still haven't been able to make sense of the senseless deaths of innocent and precious lives. And amidst the suffering, nothing can overshadow the precious memories, the beauty and the love they brought to each life they touched. Their lives were truly a gift, and we were incredibly privileged for the time we spent with them. Like my sister shared, Amal was my big sister, and she had the most beautiful spirit. And then just over 4 years ago, we heard she was pregnant with my niece, Amaya, who has gone way too soon. A whole life of potential and dreams cut short. Amal was one of the kindest people you could ever meet, and she enriched our lives so much. She was so strong. She never complained and was just loved by so many. She was vibrant. She was funny and cheeky and stylish and wholehearted, and showed me how to live life to the fullest. She lived life like it was her last day and was always the life of the party. Her infectious joy would light up the room, and she'd never leave you in a worse mood than when you met her. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend to many, and a wife and a mother who loved her daughter and would do anything for her. She lived to see those around her thriving and happy, and because of this, she was loved by so many. She was one of the most hard-working people I knew, and she loved people really well. She was always learning a new language. She spoke over 5 languages, from Tigrinya to Arabic to Italian, because she loved making new friends. After getting married to Mohammed-Nour, I saw her begin to build a family, and I admired the growth and strength she shone at all times. And as the family began to expand, we received the new addition, Amaya. She was the sweetest and kindest little girl. And Amaya was Amal's pride and joy. It's hard to put into words the joy Amaya brought into our lives. She was musical, and she loved to sing and dance. She'd always have fun like her mum. She'd always stop at someone busking on the street and just break out into dance or just admire their talent. She was so precious. I miss our guitar jams and how she'd like to sing Frozen at the top of her lungs, and just the way she would love everyone she met. And we miss them all so much, and we have so much to learn from the lives they lived and the legacies they've left with us. I'm grateful that they loved us so well and they've loved life so fiercely. We miss and love you always, and you're forever in our hearts. Thank you.
Now, I think, is Ibrahim going to speak? Or is it the video now?
Hello. It is Ibrahim, Mohammed-Nour's brother.
I think what we've got now is a video. Is that right?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وعافهم واعف عنهم وأكرم نزلهم ووسع مدخلهم واغسلهم بالماء والثلج والبرد ونقهم من الخطايا كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس وأبدلهم دارا خيرا من دارهم وأهلا خيرا من أهلهم وزوجا خيرا من زوجهم وأدخلهم الجنة وأعذهم من عذاب القبر وعذاب النار يا عزيزي يا غفار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. My name is Ibrahim Tuccu Mohammed-Nour. I lost my brother Mohammed-Nour, his wife Amal, and their 3-year-old daughter Amaya during the Grenfell Tower fire on 14 June last year. Although we all lived in different countries, Mohammed-Nour and his family were a huge part of my whole family's life. My family is still not able to come to terms with the loss we have experienced. Today I would like to share Mohammed-Nour and his family's story. The thought of reading this account at the inquiry reminds me of how I felt when I was going to the Grenfell Tower site visit. I went along to all the meetings and did all the checks, but when it came to signing, I felt as if I could imagine just opening the door of the flat and it was too much, so couldn't go through with it. That's why I have decided to record my statement. My family are originally from Samina wa Hamus via Jeddah area of Asmara in Eritrea. Asmara is a small and beautiful city known as Piccola Roma or Small Rome. I remember the people being very friendly, kind, welcoming, hardworking, and peace-loving. They live a communal life and they share what they have as family. I come from a quite large family. I was one of 9 children. In order, I have 3 older sisters, then Mohammed-Nour, then another brother, then me, and 2 younger sisters and brother. The youngest, our little brother, died in the military some time ago. As far as I know, there is a 2-year gap between me and Mohammed-Nour. My mother was a housewife and my father worked as a truck driver. He was often away from our family, but luckily my grandparents' house was so close to our house that we had chance to spend a lot of time with our grandparents and we lived between both houses. I would say that Mohammed-Nour and I were privileged to have the benefit of 2 houses, especially Mohammed-Nour as he spent more time at my grandparents' house growing up. Most of the time he would spend the night at their house, whereas I would just spend the day there. In that sense, I think Mohammed-Nour had a very privileged childhood. Sometimes Mohammed-Nour would come to the window at my parents' house and would ask us, "What's the meal today?" If he knew that it was something like vegetables, he would say, "Sorry, I'm not coming today. I'm staying with my grandparents," and then I would do the same as well. Here is a photograph of Mohammed-Nour and me next to the door of my grandparents' house inside the gate of the compound. He was around 5 years old and I was about 3. Mohammed-Nour was a very funny boy. My siblings and I always wanted him to stay with us. We didn't want him to go to our grandparents' house. He loved entertaining people and would do whatever he thought would entertain people, including singing. He used to sing a lot, mixing Tigrinya and English. He was well known to the neighbors' children because he used to perform some sort of drama and theater by gathering children from the neighborhood. Sometimes he would use a curtain with candle lights to make a cinema screen. I don't remember any particular songs, but I remember that he was very creative in developing his own songs and his own funny jokes. This went on throughout childhood from when I was about 5 or 6 and during and including my school age. In general, until he left the country, he was really one of the good characters. Apart from that, he used to organize football tournaments among us, the neighborhood children. During the whole tournament, he would also perform as a commentator. This was happened most of the time through the summer holidays. He would also prepare some prizes using local material like a plastic container. He would cut the top of 2 containers, then put one upside down under the other so it looked like a prize cup. I remember I was very interested in playing and watching football games. Mohammed-Nour used to get some money from my grandfather and he would give it to me for me to go and watch the games. He was not that interested to come with me to watch the game. He would prefer to organize his own football tournament and make fun out of with his commentary. In addition, Mohammed-Nour used to help my grandfather on a regular basis, especially when my grandfather became visually poor. He would take him from home to the shop. My grandfather owned a tailor's and clothing shop, and Mohammed-Nour would work half days there every day, whilst my eldest sister was in charge of running the shop. He would work every day, either in the morning or afternoon, and go to school for the other half. Then I would swap shifts with him. We started working in the shop from early on, around 11 years old, especially Mohammed-Nour, because he was staying more with our grandparents and he used to go to our grandfather from the age of about 11. Mohammed-Nour would never say no to helping my grandparents. He was also supporting everyone. He would never say no to helping anyone. I used to admire Mohammed-Nour so much. I always want to play with him and I never wanted to miss any of his jokes. As brothers, we used to play, fight, and wrestle each other. I used to love him a lot. I learned some characteristics from him. For example, I wouldn't say no if I was asked to do something or if people were looking for help, which I learned from him. In terms of jokes and other things, he was extremely gifted, so I couldn't do it the same as him, but I still tried with some of my friends. I used to follow him everywhere. I liked following him because I used to feel comfortable around him. But one day he asked me to go back and stop following him. I insisted and didn't listen to him. I remember it was the day before Eid. He grabbed a stone and threw it in my direction and it accidentally hit me. When he saw that I was hurt, he was shocked because it was not intentional at all. I remember I had a bandage patch on my head on Eid, which I can laugh about now. I had never seen him as shocked as that day. He was so frightened. After that, he was trying to comfort me and treat me by making balls and other stuff to me feel better. Here is a photograph of me and Mohammed-Nour when I was around 12 and he was 14 years old. We had taken the bike to the photo shop to get a picture taken. The bike belonged to Mohammed-Nour, but he asked me to hold it with him when we took the photo. While the bike was a present sent from my maternal uncle in Nigeria to Mohammed-Nour, he shared it with me and we used to take turns using it. We helped each other learn to ride using this bike. During that period in our area, children did not have bikes like this one, so we were very privileged to have this. Normally, people went to visit the photo shop during festivals or special occasions. I believe this photo must have been taken on Eid, as our family regularly went to the photo shop on Eid. Here is another photograph of Mohammed-Nour posing with the bike. In terms of going to the mosque, Mohammed-Nour always used to take my grandfather, even early in the morning, which is quite hard to wake up for. He influenced me in that matter as well. He was well known to everyone in the mosque, and he was quite active with the members, especially during Ramadan, as he would be active in serving food for poor people and others who couldn't break their fast at home. During other special events such as marriage or gathering to give condolences, he would be quite involved because he liked socializing. He remained active in the mosque from childhood until he left Eritrea. The local mosque was called Khalid ibn al-Walid Mosque. When it came to education, he was quite outstanding. I benefited from that as he used to help me with my studies. Though we attended different schools, Mohammed-Nour went to Simrat Akhriya School and he enjoyed studying. He was among us the top in his class and English was his favorite subject. Later on in high school, he preferred studies including chemistry, biology, and physics. He had an ambition to become a medical doctor. He also took up hobbies in school like drawing and writing poetry. I would describe him as an artist. I heard a story from one of Mohammed-Nour's friends in school when Mohammed-Nour was around 15 years old. There was a lady Mohammed-Nour admired. He was not brave enough to express himself around her, so he arranged a whole drama and asked his friends to stop her in the street so he could come to rescue her, and then from that moment he was able to express himself and take her for a tea. He dropped out of high school towards the end and he went to Sudan as he was involved as an undercover agent with the freedom fighters. He had to leave because he was wanted by Ethiopian government who ruled Eritrea at the time. This was in 1989, so he would have been around 17 years old. Before he left, Mohammed-Nour was trying to give some information to my family that he was going to leave the country because he was being chased by the authorities. We don't know how he became involved as an agent. He was quite politically active, but it was hard to express a view against the Ethiopian government at that time. He could only collaborate secretly with the freedom fighters. Out of my family, Mohammed-Nour was politically active. Mohammed-Nour lived in Sudan for less than a year before moving to Nigeria. We stayed in contact by post during that time. He did not return to Eritrea until many years later. Mohammed-Nour stayed with my late maternal uncle in Nigeria, and I missed him a lot, especially in the beginning. Not only that, I was becoming more responsible after he left, as I became the eldest son, so the burden fell on me. With regards to my education, Mohammed-Nour already helped me to have a good pace, so I continued the same as before. The help he had given me stayed with me. He had taught me the best way to study and supported me. My siblings also really missed him. Soon after Mohammed-Nour moved to Nigeria, our family all moved into my grandparents' house to live together. Both my grandparents used to worry about Mohammed-Nour a lot shortly after my grandmother passed away. I remember as soon as Mohammed-Nour got to Nigeria, he was studying, but I don't remember what he was studying or for how long. From Nigeria, Mohammed-Nour moved to the UK in around 1991. From what I know, my late uncle was very much interested in education and wanted Mohammed-Nour to study in London. Mohammed-Nour liked the UK because he was very much looking to continue his education, and he was studying as soon as he arrived. I remember he was also volunteering in an area related to his studies and working and sent some money back to our family. Since he came to the UK, he stayed in London. I think he stayed in London for most of his life. Mohammed-Nour completed his BSc in genetics in Queen Mary University in June 1999 and went on to study his MSc in bioinformatics at University of Westminster from 2002 to 2004. When Mohammed-Nour moved to the UK, our grandfather was always asking Mohammed-Nour what he was doing. When friends visited Asmara from the UK, our grandfather would pass on the message for Mohammed-Nour to visit Asmara because at that time Eritrea was independent. Everyone who came to our home would ask about Mohammed-Nour and why he was not coming to visit us because the country was independent. We all really missed him. Mohammed-Nour only visited about 3 or 4 years ago. Unfortunately, he didn't get to see my grandfather alive again because my grandfather passed in around 2000 or 2001. I left Eritrea in 2000 and later moved to Saudi Arabia. Having served in the Eritrean military, Mohammed-Nour used to talk to me about my options and where I could find a place to live my own life. But at the same time, he was a bit concerned about the family because after I left the country, none of us brothers were there anymore to look after them. My younger brother had died in the war by that stage. Mohammed-Nour really supported me through this time, and he was the main person I felt I could confide in. Other brothers, we used to keep in regular communication. He was really involved in my situation, especially as I was struggling to settle in Saudi Arabia. He was looking for me to consider alternative options in terms of where to live, as he wanted the best for me. Mohammed-Nour was the only one of us who was in the UK. As far as I remember, he was always happy, but he was always concerned about other people, especially with my case. Financially, he was supporting my family back home. He was assisting me while I was in Saudi Arabia. At the same time, he was supportive towards my 2 sisters who live in Germany, not only financially, but he also used visit them regularly, particularly during the last 4 years. The financial support was mainly to my family back home, especially once I was earning enough to support myself. However, he would still help me as and when I needed. Having stayed in London since his arrival in the UK, Mohammed-Nour had made his own community here. He was actively participating and volunteering with charities. He had a very diverse group of friends, some from his studies, his workplace, the community, and the mosque, along with others. He had some very close friends here and he was popular, just as he was at home in Asmara. He saw himself as a people person and was loved by many. In particular, he was quite involved as a member of IMCA, the Eritrean Muslim Community Association, during Ramadan, Eid, and the summer holidays. He was involved with entertaining the children during the summer holidays. He liked entertaining the children in general, just as he did when he was a child himself. He was very generous to his friends. If he had a plan to meet someone, he always took something for his friends, especially water. He was working for an advertising company, and if there was some leftover samples like perfumes, he would share them with his friends. In addition to that, if someone was moving into a new flat, he would help them with painting. He enjoyed painting and decorating, and he was good at it. His final employer was Red Consultancy, where he was a receptionist, and they knew about these qualities, including his generosity and his ability to do painting and decorating. According to his friends, if he heard anyone gossiping, he would try to stop them and tell them, "You don't need to talk about someone who is not with us." He only liked to talk about things he was sure about. He didn't entertain and speculation or gossip, even with me. When I was in Saudi, if I mentioned something that was not certain, he wouldn't accept it. He would ask me to go back and check it before talking about it. He was known for being very well-mannered. Here are two recent photos of Mohammed-Nour in London. In 2010, I planned to get married, and Mohammed-Nour supported me as a big brother. He advised me to plan for the future of my family and take care of my marriage. Sadly, he couldn't attend because I gave short notice and because of his job. However, he was financially supporting me, and he had a plan to bring our mom to attend. Unfortunately, she could not attend because she couldn't get a visa. Soon after I got married, he told me that he was planning to have an Islamic marriage to his partner Amal, who we called Samia, within a few months. Unfortunately, I was not able to visit Mohammed-Nour and Samia in the UK, but I spoke with them regularly over the phone. From what I know, they were very happy together as a couple, and Samia was a great partner to Mohammed-Nour. They visited Asmara to see my mother, which was a really important trip to everyone. My mom was so pleased and excited to see him with someone and starting a family. When Mohammed-Nour informed me that he and Samia were expecting a baby, I was very happy, and so was my wife. I remember when we sent him a type of curtain as a present to give some privacy for the mom with her baby. In our culture, this is something we believe is necessary when a newborn comes into a family. Although I never met Samia, I was so pleased she had joined the family. Every time I called Mohammed-Nour, I would ask how Samia was keeping. Here is a photograph from one of Mohammed-Nour and Samia's trips to Asmara during Eid. I think it was their last visit to Asmara together. From left to right, the photo shows Samia, my mother, Mohammed-Nour, and my nephew. I was very happy and excited when I heard about Amaya's birth. This was something every member of the family was waiting for. We used to spend our best wishes on Amaya's birthday. Mohammed-Nour shared birthday photos and sometimes videos. I started to introduce Amaya to my daughter whenever we received a picture of her from Mohammed-Nour, and I would explain to my daughter how Amaya was related. This is a photo of Mohammed-Nour holding his daughter Amaya, which he sent to me. It looks like Amaya was 1 year old. Mohammed-Nour was very, very happy. I couldn't tell you how happy he was. He had a special attachment with Amaya and loved her more than anyone. Mohammed-Nour always talked about his daughter Amaya, and his heart was 100% with Amaya at all the time. He was always very keen to see her when he came home from work. Every time he visited her at the flat, he would help wash and dress and comb her hair before doing anything for himself. Above all, he always gave her priority before anything, even before himself. He had a lot of love for her, and he was very committed to provide everything she wanted. All his friends and family knows how close he was with her because he always talked about her. Mohammed-Nour used to take Amaya out a lot and sing songs to her and talk to her almost like she was his close friend. This is another photo of Mohammed-Nour and Amaya, which is more recent. I asked my sisters in Germany to tell me more about Mohammed-Nour and Amaya, as they had seen them more recently. When I spoke to them, they were too emotional to explain in detail, but one of them sent me a voice note. She mentioned that in December 2016, Mohammed-Nour and Amaya came to visit them in Germany. That was the last time they saw Mohammed-Nour and his daughter. They had a very good time together during the visit. My sister told me that both her and my other sister would be waiting for Mohammed-Nour to come and eat breakfast, but it would get cold by the time he arrived because he had to make sure he had got Amaya ready and fed her first. Everybody knew he only wanted the best for Amaya. He would even call around to different places to get the best quality things for Amaya. After that trip, my sister used to call Samia every so often, and they had a plan to meet in Germany in August 2017. They agreed that Samia would come with Amaya. However, due to the tragedy, it didn't happen. My sister told me that this is something which she couldn't forget for the rest of her life. Here are some recent photos of Amaya which my sister in Germany shared with me. Here is a photo of Mohammed-Nour sent me from Amaya's third birthday party at the flat in the Grenfell Tower. I remember Mohammed-Nour saying that the party was great with lots of friends in attendance. This is another photo from Amaya's birthday. It is a photograph of the television. People were sharing this photo widely on Facebook in the aftermath of the fire. This is a photograph of my mother holding Amaya in around 2014 or 2015. I believe this was the first time that Amaya visited Eritrea, and the last time that Mohammed-Nour's family visited Eritrea. Amaya was under the age of 1. This is a very important photo as it was a very special moment for my mother. The photograph is taken inside the gate of my maternal grandparents' compound, where Mohammed-Nour spent a lot of time growing up. My family have all lived in that house since Mohammed-Nour left. Both my maternal grandparents have now passed away. I remember asking my mother how she felt to see Amaya because we were all waiting for Mohammed-Nour to have his own family. My mom was very fond of Amaya. During this visit, my mom and Amaya would just cuddle all day and night. This is a photograph of Mohammed-Nour with our mom in Eritrea. Here is a photograph of all of us siblings who grew up together in one house. Mohammed-Nour made this collage and shared it. He is in the center. He was very committed to his family and was always wondering about what his siblings were up to. From the top left corner going clockwise, the photos show my eldest sister, my sister living in Saudi, me, my sister who is still in Asmara, and my 2 sisters living in Germany. The photo is missing my youngest brother who died in the army and my other brother. A note from Mohammed-Nour's employers reads, Mo joined PR agency Red Consultancy in July 2007 as a nighttime security porter. Over the years, his abilities saw him take on additional office management responsibilities to help ensure the smooth running of the office. Mo was a much respected and loved employee who always went the extra mile, whether enthusiastically taking on additional projects or helping colleagues. Mohammed-Nour's employers also told me that it was testament to how well regarded he was that his colleagues organized a fundraising a football game in his memory. Much for Mo raised £10,000 to fund children's project in Mo's local community at the Eritrean Muslim Community Association. One of Mohammed-Nour's colleagues said, Mo was one of those rare people who brought everyone together and made the world a better place. I will never forget his bright smile and his positive attitude towards others. Like Mohammed-Nour's colleagues, I will always never forget how he was always smiled. Everyone who knew Mohammed-Nour described him as a kind, wonderful, and very lovable. Everywhere I go in London, I met a lot of people saying that Mohammed-Nour was my friend, the best friend that I had. Everyone felt that they had a special friendship with Mohammed-Nour, even if they only met him once or twice. From that, I understand that he tried to give everyone his time and treated everyone equally. According to my sisters and some friends, Mohammed-Nour was also exceptional in terms of providing advice. He had a special ability and communication skills in resolving issues, especially in family issues. He did not like to see people not talking or communicating, so he would mediate. He also did not like to see people, especially relatives, to be financially worried. He didn't like it if any of us had to borrow money. He would rather help us and send us money himself. Everyone remembers how Mohammed-Nour would always say, "Don't worry, Kasan." This was his phrase. He was very funny, cooperative, and helpful. He would always tell me not to worry. This would be the first thing he would say whenever I went to him with a problem. For instance, when I lived in Saudi, I would tell him about things that concerned me and tell him that I was worried. He would reassure me and say, "Don't worry, everywhere has problems." Sometimes I stop and think about everything that has happened over the past years, why I'm here in England and Mohammed-Nour is not here. I had never been to the UK before he died. I have been spending time with his friends and wishing he was there too. He was so fun to be around. I wanted to see London with him. I have not seen Mohammed-Nour since he left Eritrea. This is a collage that Mohammed-Nour made with photos of us two brothers together in around 2015, which he shared on Facebook. I am on the left and Mohammed-Nour is on the right. We stayed in contact mainly using Facebook and WhatsApp. He would chat a lot on Facebook Messenger, but unfortunately our contact was limited to telephone calls and messaging, so it was difficult to feel a deep connection. I used to dream of us being reunited. I dreamed of us being together as brothers with our families and children. I was always praying to see him at least once after so many years and to meet his family and have all our children together. I wanted so badly to introduce Amaya to my daughter. Even my daughter, who is now 7 years old, was very excited to see Amaya. I told my daughter, "This is your cousin," and every time she saw Amaya in a picture, she would kiss the photograph. My children do not know that Mohammed-Nour and his family have passed away. We have told the kids that they have gone away on a trip. When I heard the news of the fire, I just prayed they would be alive so we could have the chance to meet at least once as a family. I would beg Mohammed-Nour, please come to Saudi. We can find you a job. I used to try to convince him to come, as I knew of others who had moved from the UK to Saudi. I hoped maybe he would come to Saudi for 6 months to a year so that we could spend time together. He could stay with me, then go to the holy sites in Mecca and Medina, and then go to Asmara and see our mother, because Eritrea wasn't far away. His answer was inshallah, or God willing. Now I'm here in London and he is not. I left Saudi to come here after I heard about the fire, and I have not been able to go back. I have had to adjust to London without my brother's support and without my family. He was the one I would always confide in when I was going through hardship. My mother has not accepted Mohammed-Nour's death, and our whole family is devastated by our loss. It is hard for any of us to even think about it, never mind talk about what has happened. Thank you.
So, of course, you have heard about Mohammed-Nour, Amal Ahmedin, and Amaya Tuccu-Ahmedin. There is, of course, one other person who comes within this group, and that is Amna Mahmud Irdris. And I gather that Ibrahim wishes to say a few words.
My name is Ibrahim Abdul Karim.
I think Ibrahim's going to have an interpreter as well, in case he needs some help. So take your time, and if you need to speak to the interpreter, please do. Would you just tell us how you fit into this amazing family?
Today I want to talk about Amna. It's my wife. She was born on January 1990. She grew up there with her family. In 2010, she moved to Sudan. We married in Sudan on 8th January 2012. When I talk about Amna, I feel the world is stopped. She was all my life, and the meaning very thing to me. Remember her, she loved the artist. She was artist designer at home. She dreamed to complete her education to be artist designer, and she will help everyone. She was know or not know. She was happy to help other people. Also, she was enjoy to work, read book. I was never find someone like Amna. Now I lost the support. She was support to me at all time. Not only me, but everyone. You know her. She was the light of her family. I used to live with her for 2 years. When I come in UK, it was difficult time. But I meet her as soon. And it happened, she came to live with me in UK on 20th of March 2016. After 1 year, I lost her forever. Now I feel very think in my life gone here. I can't talk anymore here. Thank you.